Hey, what's up? It's Deanna. I'm back. So I had just uploaded a video of this old antique CDV photo album and tintype album from the 1860s, 1870s. Now in the video, there was a bunch of photos that I couldn't really identify. I did not take them out of the book. I hate taking old photos out of these books because 9 times out of 10, they're like wedged in there really good. And then you can end up damaging the photo and the album. And this time I ended up saying the hell with it, and I took some of them out. And the reason being is because I thought that in the previous video, I thought this was an earthquake, I said, or I thought it was some kind of archaeological dig. And then, I don't know, for some reason, this dome, I just kept questioning it. And so I typed in, thank God for Google, by the way. Google is your friend, as they say. I typed in CDV dome, like CDV dome or monument, and something popped up that said Mormon Tabernacle. And then I really looked at this photo in the album and I said, that looks just like that Mormon Tabernacle. Well, it turns out I busted my butt to carefully take a bunch of these photos out of the sleeves in this album, and it is the Mormon Tabernacle. So actually, let me show you a close-up. Now, these are rare, these type of photos. You don't generally see these old Mormon photos. I'm trying to show you with my magnifying glass, but it doesn't look like it's going to cooperate. But you can see like all the workers here. I'm trying to zoom, but it's very hard. Hold on, let me try to get a clear zoom. There we go. So you can see all the workers here, and they have blocks of like marble, and I thought it was an archaeological dig or earthquake. And then there's the tabernacle. And this is a really, really amazing piece of history. Now, on the back, it had some information. I'm trying to be gentle. I'm wearing gloves so I don't get my fingerprint oil on it. And it says, Brigham Young Tabernacle. And this is really cool. So this is from Salt Lake City, Utah. It says Tabernacle and Temple Foundation. It doesn't give a year, but I read this was built in the 1860s. So that's definitely an 1860s CDV photo. Then this, I just thought it was a photo of somebody walking down a street. And I was like, why would someone take a picture of a random street? But when I pulled this card out, I got a surprise. And so you go very gentle. And it says, B. Young Residence. So I put 2 and 2 together. So what we have here is Brigham Young's residence. And then President Young, it looks like it says. And again, we have Salt Lake City, Utah. So we have a photo, it looks like an 1860s photo of Brigham Young's residence or house, or maybe it's the foundation for his church. And actually could be from the late 1850s. All right, so I was like really excited about that. So now we got a bunch of other photos. Now I'm going to find this. I couldn't take out another one of those Brigham Young photographs out of this book because it was wedged in there really, really good. And we have another one here, again, showing the tabernacle. Now I know anything Mormon, I'm not a Mormon, and anything Mormon is worth a heck of a lot of money. I got, not too long ago, I got an old journal, and I was reading the journal, and it was actually a Mormon missionary that went to Hawaii in about 1900, and I sold that book for $4,000 to a Mormon book dealer. And so anything Mormon I know is valuable. Now, how valuable are these photos? I don't know. I haven't been able to find any others that match these particular photos. I'm going to do a little more Googling later. So now I found some more interesting things in this old book. What I found is really cool, like that I didn't notice earlier when I was showing you the album. Let me find it. There was like something really sad. Now, I just thought this was a photo of a baby. And then I looked at it closely with my magnifying glass, and I realized this is a post-mortem photo. This was a photograph taken of a baby that was deceased. And they placed the baby on a beautiful, like, pillow. You can see the little pillow behind the baby. And they placed the baby out with hands folded across. And so this is this baby that had passed away. Now, during the Victorian era, there was, photos were very expensive. So people, sometimes the only image they ended up having of their relative was after they were deceased. They would actually hire a studio to take photos of their deceased relatives. And family members would all come together and pay for the photo. So we have a deceased young child here. That's very, very sad. Those photos always get me. So now, back to this. So I was wondering where the heck most of these photographs were taken. Some of them looked like tropical areas. So this right here is actually, when I flipped it over, it says city, I think that says Charleston. Wait, hold on one second. Something church, Saint something Medeiros, city of Chalkerton, maybe that says. Could be Chalkerton. And then it says, hold on. Maybe you guys can help me in the comments below. You might recognize this. St. Philip's Church, something. I can't make it out. Okay, so I thought it was like some kind of photo of like America. Then I found this, and it looks like an old building. Let me steady my hand. And you see a man sitting there next to a rock. And I flipped it over, and it says Charleston, maybe, South Carolina. So that could be Charleston, South Carolina. Then I found this old photo. And it looks like some old building or factory. And then when I flipped it over, it had something in another language. It said what appears to be Decembrado de Castrafe, Espa, something Pavlas, in Veracruz. I think that says Mexico. I don't know. And then it has a notation imprinted on here. On the side, it says what appears to be, does that say Havana? I don't know. And then we have this notation here. It says Charles D. Fredricks and Company, Specialty, Broadway, New York. So I don't know. It may be Veracruz, Mexico, or Havana, Cuba. Now, this photograph is a graveyard. And if you look close, it has names on it that you can make out. And it has a gentleman standing by the grave. It might be maybe a cemetery where his relatives are buried. And then it says Key West. So that's interesting. So then we have this photo. And it appears it's a horse and buggy. A fancy horse and buggy of the day. And going down a street. And when I flip it over, it says, it looks like it says Havana. Could this be Cuba? It must be Cuba, because it says here, C.D. Fredricks and Company, Calle de la Habana, Habana, New York, and Paris. So it has something to do, this family has something to do with Cuba. Now, I thought it was a plantation. In my previous video, I thought they were like slave owners or something, or they owned like cotton or sugar plantations. Now we have another tropical photo here. And again, we have C.D. Fredricks and Company. And when I flip it over, it's Habana, Cuba again. So, Calle de la Habana, Habana. That's really interesting. Excuse my Spanish pronunciation. It's not very good. I did fail Spanish in high school. Okay. And then we have this photo, which is interesting. And it looks like some sort of tropical area. And then when I flip it over, again, it says Havana. And then again, C.D. Fredricks and Company, Calle de la Habana, Habana. Very interesting. I wonder why this family had so many Cuban photographs in here. Now, this one I had showed you guys earlier. I said it looked like leaders of Europe. And then when I took it out, it says crowned heads of Europe. And there's little numbers next to each head of Europe. And on the back, what's interesting, it has like corresponding names with the numbers. I thought that was really interesting. Then I found this wedged in between another photograph that actually I didn't see this in the original album. This was hidden. And it says, Clan MacDonald. I'm Scottish. I'm half Scottish. My grandmother was from Aberdeen, Aberdeenshire in Scotland. And so this is like really heartwarming to see. So somebody had put a Scottish heritage card in there. No name or information on the back. That's sad. Then I had this one. Buildings and a horse and buggy. Did I even show you this already? I'm losing my mind. And it says Habana. Again, we have one of those Cuban cards. This was a filler. And it says England farewell. And what this significance has to do with the album. Now, maybe the people in this book were Scottish and English. On the backs of some of these cards, it mentioned England. And I forgot what location of England, but some of them were England. So again, we have that Tabernacle photo that I showed you. We had the Brigham Young residence. And then last but not least, out of the ones I got out of the album, appears to be some kind of location card. I flip it over, and on the back it says Quinby and Company, and something is cut off. 1868. So that's always great to see. When you see a date on something, that also helps you identify a lot of the photos in there. So I thought this was really, really cool. Really an interesting photo album. Again, it has notable celebrities and politicians of the day. This I had mentioned to you guys that I thought was probably after Lincoln was assassinated, because we have some Lincoln assassination cards in here. I thought this was a bunch of leaders getting together, but it also could be the original signers of the Declaration of Independence. I could be wrong. I didn't want to jostle it and try to get it out of the album, because it's really, really hard to get these photos out and a pain in the butt. And I tried not to do that as much as I could. So once again, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up and subscribe.